Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the lab. It's so good to see you. Today, we're building a hidden blade. I got these drawings here. I came up with them about a year ago. Haven't been able to do anything with these plans until now because it's really complicated to build these parts. Before I got my 3D printer, I wasn't able to make parts nearly as complicated as this. Now that I have one, well, as you can tell, I've gone a little bit overboard. I think that's enough talk. Let's take these plans over to the computer and get right into modeling. I interrupt this montage to show you guys the bottom case and the middle case with our slider. Now that I have these parts printed, we can test the fit. I also have the blade printed so we can put it all together, kind of like so. First, before we can really test it, I need to put the pin locks in with some springs. These are just bobby pins that I cut to size. So the spring goes in here. Come on, spring. Our pin is nice and springy, so it'll lock just like that. Awesome. Working like a charm. Okay, now we can go ahead and test the blade. Oh, it's not moving anywhere. Unlock. Yes. Now it should lock in the back, and it is. Unlock. Brilliant. Brilliant. Everything's printed now. I have a spring in here. I'll point it down so that it's using gravity. You just rotate the little wheel here. As you can see, it doesn't have enough power to shoot it out all the way. So I've been wrestling around with this problem for a little while now, and I've got shorter springs and longer springs. I've tried both, and it hasn't done much, because as soon as I put a shorter spring in, there's too much internal pressure and friction. It's like just bending the slide, keeping it from sliding properly. So I have been busy printing. Got multiple slides. The only real difference between these slides is the size of the little nubs here that actually trigger the locks to release. You see the difference there. So essentially this just gives the spring more time to actuate. Well, I guess that leads me into my next observation, and that is that the blade is being pinched by the downward pressure of the slide, I think. If I push linearly so that it's just in the horizontal plane here, it actuates just fine. As soon as I push down, there's a little bit of friction that slows the blade down just enough to keep from locking all the way. It worked that time, but it's inconsistent. Okay, so I wanted to wait to show you guys this, but look at this. So all it needed was sheet metal plate on the back here, because I was struggling with keeping this thing rigid enough to keep it from bending inwards like this and then pinching on the blade. Oh, it works so well. Let's go. So, took about a week, but I have all of our parts ready to go now. Kind of, I think. The only thing I haven't tested out is this thing, which is going to be the spring, but we'll get to that in a second. First of all, I want to cover the slide because I think I kind of skipped over that previously, so we'll talk about that, and then we'll get into the other stuff. There's two main actions that this thing needs to do, and firstly, that is, it needs to unlock the pins, and secondly, it also needs to shoot the blade forward and backward. So as I push the slide, the hook stays in place until the lock pins are disengaged, and then the whole slide shoots forward. The pins are basically just 90-degree hooks that go through here and are long enough to be covered by the top of the slide here. This is to keep the slide nice and rigid so it doesn't collapse in on itself when it's pushing the pins. And that is what serves as the main driver of this project. So let's talk about how I'm moving the slide inside the case here. Obviously the top cover goes on top. This guy is responsible for all the motion. Basically, the pin just sits inside the groove, and as the pin rotates, the slide reciprocates back and forth within the case, right? And that's what shoots the blade back and forth. So now that we have our back and forth motion, we need a way to spin that from the outside consistently going 180 degrees. I have dubbed this guy the rotary actuator because it rotates and actuates the slide. And this is what that guy used to look like. The idea was that a string would catch on this tooth, pull it 180 degrees, actuate the blade, and stop there. But the problem is there's nothing keeping this at 180 degrees. So it could over-rotate and it can under-rotate. So let's say we start at 0, go to 180 degrees, and then over-rotate slightly. The tooth of the slide will catch the blade. Let's say it's right here. It will catch the blade before the blade can lock out completely. If the blade isn't locked properly like it is here, the slide can't shoot it back. It has to be locked, right? So if we have like a partial fire where it only goes to here and doesn't lock out completely, the blade's not going to work. So with that in mind, I designed a gear system to make sure that the rotary actuator only spins 180 degrees every single time. It starts with this base ring here, which has a little nub there, which indexes with an internal ring here, which is slanted so that it can seat properly there. But just give it a second, I'll assemble it, and then it'll make a lot of sense. So once you reach my level of skill, you are granted with literal magic. If you don't believe me, check this out. Aha! See? Told you. But as you can see, the pins are just arranged around the gear so that they're all facing the same way and hold on to the gear in the same direction. So once it's all put together, our piece looks like this. The teeth make sure that the gear can only move in one direction. So I can move the outer ring without moving the inner ring in this direction. But when I try to spin the other direction, both move, right? So that way we can make sure that the gear always rotates 180 degrees, always locks out in either the 0 or 180 degree position, and always moves in one direction, right? Because the only way you can spin this gear is by pulling it clockwise. But how are we going to make it return home? Right? We need some sort of a spring for that. And the distance from here, from the actuator to the back, is not enough to allow for a regular spring, because there's just too much travel. So what I came up with is this guy. A hacksaw blade cut in half, coiled up inside with a post in the center to keep it all in place, and it just spins about its axis. I think it can do a full 360 degrees, which is more than enough to put tension on this thing. And it just sits on the back here. So as soon as this ring spins, it puts tension on the spring, returning it home once I have released the mechanism. There are also some spacers. This guy sits here, the other guy goes in the back, and there's a cover ring for the mechanism to keep it all together. Yes! Oh. How dope is that? Bam! It's a little bit bulky. It's like the width of my wrist, but for a Mark I version, that's pretty good. That's like a proof of concept right there. I'm really stoked about this thing. It's pretty cool. Practical? No, not at all, but cool for sure. My friends, that is the end of the video. This is the end of the video. I mean, if you stayed this far, I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you guys have a good day, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. Oh.